He was as handsome as he was private, and even though the paparazzi tried at every turn to capture intimate moments of John F. Kennedy Jr., the press was kept at bay. But RoseMarie Terenzio saw what went on behind the velvet ropes where John found himself. She was his personal assistant for years and has found herself an unwitting author after years of stories that sort of wrote themselves. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I have to tell you, I'm in love with this book.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm not just saying that.
Thank you so much.
I think what's so interesting is not even so much the people on the cover, which is why people would pick this up anyway, but it's because of you. It's because you're telling this story of someone who was a girl on the outside looking in. I certainly know what that's like. What was that like for you?
Well, you know, it's my fairy tale interrupted because I had access to all of this, you know, amazing movie premieres, any restaurant I wanted to go to, clothes, shoes, parties, and then it was all gone, you know, and I came from, you know, a working class family in the Bronx, and suddenly I'm in this world.
Tell people how you met John F. Kennedy Jr. and how it became this very unlikely way that you became his executive assistant.
Well, he was, you know, coming into our office. I worked at a small PR firm in New York, and Michael Berman, who was my boss, was starting the magazine with John, but we didn't know that. So we just thought we were going to be out of a job. And he came in one day, and I came in one Monday morning, and he had packed up my office, and he was moving in. And
you were none too happy.
I was not happy. I loved my office. And I let him have it. And I was like, who do you think you are? What are you doing? And I remember saying to him, you don't even have a job. Why do you need an office? And I thought, and my boss, Michael, at the time was just like, oh, God.
And this ended up being the unlikely meeting of you and ending up working with him when he debuted George, the political magazine, and also developing a relationship with Carolyn. I can tell you, I remember she was on the cover of a magazine sometime in the 90s, and I ran out and got it, although you barely heard anything about her ever.
She never spoke. She never did. Never did an interview, never talked to the media. Carolyn was just this really warm girl's girl, buddy friend. She would take you shopping. She would introduce you to all the most amazing things, the best colorist, the best shoe store, the best everything. And she gave you dating advice, and she was just a really good friend, and she was so warm, and she had this, people had this image, you know, this image of her that she was this cold, you know, sort of incense. She was the complete opposite of that.
You know, it's funny because when you see the picture of the two of them on the cover of this book and you hear the title Fairy Tale Interrupted, my first thought was it a fairy tale interrupted? Because the media made so much of their spats and said it wasn't what it appeared to be. What was their relationship from your point of view?
They had the same ups and downs as every other marriage, except theirs was played out in public. But, you know, for the most part, John and Carolyn were really like best friends. They liked being around each other. They were fun together. They weren't the type of couple that always had to be, you know, attached at the hip. So she would go out with her friends, he would go out with his friends. He would do his kayaking, ice climbing trips, and she would do her girls' weekends. So it was a great, I mean, I think they had a great relationship. Did they have moments where they argued? Yeah, but, you know, who doesn't?
When you talk about the fact that you're very loyal to him, and it's evidenced in the book, but do you feel like you're betraying that loyalty at all by writing this book and sharing these stories?
You know, I don't, because they're my stories and it's what happened to me. I don't really talk about their life, their marriage, their family. It's my story, you know.
And I have to tell you, that is, the fact that it is your story is what makes it so endearing and such a page turner. Best of luck. Fairy Tale Interrupted is the book. RoseMarie Terenzio is the author, and we really appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Cindy, over to you.